All right, welcome to This Explainer. I am super excited you're here today because we're jumping right into a foundational web design concept. It's one of those things that's incredibly easy to learn, but honestly, it's also incredibly easy to get wrong. Today, we're mastering HTML headings, and specifically, we're going to figure out why your page's structure absolutely must take priority over its visual style. If you've ever dabbled in web development, maybe put together a blog or built a quick landing page, you've definitely crossed paths with heading tags. But are you actually using them correctly? Well, let's find out. So let's kick things off with a question just for you. And hey, be honest here. Have you ever been coding a web page, realized a specific sentence just needed to look a bit bigger or bolder, and decided to just slap an H2 or an H3 tag on it to make it pop? If you're nodding your head right now, do not sweat it. You are absolutely not alone. It's actually the single most common web design mistake out there. But today, we're going to fix it, and I'll show you exactly why taking that shortcut is actually damaging your website behind the scenes. Here is our quick roadmap for today's explainer. Number 1, the common heading mistake. 2, the 6 heading levels. 3, why headings actually matter. 4, golden rules for headings. And finally, number 5, controlling size with CSS. Okay. Let's jump straight into section 1, the common heading mistake. To really grasp why using a heading tag just to make text bigger is such a problem, we need to talk about what a heading actually does in the language of the web. HTML headings, they aren't styling tools. You should really think of them as the table of contents for a web page. Their main job is to establish a structural hierarchy. They tell the browser how your thoughts are organized and how different sections of your content relate to each other. So when you use a heading tag simply to bump up a font size, you're effectively dropping random, fake chapter titles into your web page's table of contents. It completely scrambles the structure, confusing both the machines reading your code and the actual humans trying to navigate your site.
Moving on to section 2, the 6 heading levels.
6. That is the exact number of heading levels you have at your disposal in HTML. Exactly 6. No more, no less. You can't just invent an H7 or an H8 tag because you feel like it. You have this highly specific, standardized set of 6 tools to outline literally any document on the internet, whether it's a simple recipe blog post or a massive, complex corporate homepage. And this setup brilliantly illustrates how those 6 tags cascade down. The hierarchy starts with the H1 tag, which is the absolute VIP, the most important heading on your page, and cascades all the way down to the H6 tag, which is your least important subheading. It's kind of like a strict chain of command. The H1 is your 4-star general, the H2s are the kernels, going all the way down to the H6 privates. Now, web browsers automatically apply built-in styling to these tags, making the H1 visually massive and the H6 quite tiny. And honestly, that's exactly why beginners get so tempted to misuse them for visual design. But you've got to remember our mantra for today: structure over style. Now, if you are totally new to HTML syntax, writing these into your code is incredibly straightforward. It's basically a 2-step process. Step 1, you open the element. You do this by typing the tag inside angle brackets, like H1. Then you just type out your actual heading text. Step 2, and this is crucial, you have to tell the browser exactly where the heading ends by closing it. You use a matching tag, but this time you include a /, like /H1. That / is the secret sauce. It tells the computer, okay, the title stops right here, and the regular text is about to begin. All right, on to section 3, why headings actually matter. Skipping or misusing your headings doesn't just make your code look messy, it fundamentally breaks how your website interacts with the outside world. Proper headings serve 3 massive behind-the-scenes purposes. They act as an absolute SEO powerhouse, they are critical for digital accessibility, and they heavily dictate the human user experience. Let's break these down one by one, because once you understand this, I promise it's going to change how you write code forever. First up is SEO, search engine optimization. Listen, search engines like Google do not sit down with a cup of coffee and read your web page word for word the way we do. They send automated bots, and those bots act like frantic speed readers scanning the page for an outline. Your H1 tag tells Google exactly what the core theme of the entire page is. Then the H2 and H3 tags tell Google what the subtopics are and how they logically relate back to that main theme. If you just use bold paragraph text instead of proper H2 tags, search engines will completely struggle to understand your structure. And here's the harsh truth. If Google doesn't understand your page, there is no way it's going to rank your page highly in search results. The second massive purpose is digital accessibility. For visually impaired users who rely on assistive tech, like screen readers, heading tags are a literal roadmap. Screen reading software can instantly pull up an invisible list of all the properly coded headings on a page. This lets the user easily skim the content and jump straight to the exact section they care about. Imagine opening up a massive Wikipedia article and being forced to listen to the entire page, word by word, starting from the very top, just to find one specific fact buried at the bottom. Well, that is exactly what you force visually impaired users to do when you fail to use proper heading structures. Ultimately, the best way to think about your web page is to treat it exactly like a printed book. The H1 tag, that's the title printed right on the cover. You only get one title. The H2 tags are your major chapters, and the H3 tags are the specific subsections within those chapters. This analogy is perfect because it aligns the human user experience with exactly what the machines are looking for. We rarely read web pages on the first pass anyway. We skim. Clear headings break up those intimidating walls of text, give our eyes a place to rest, and draw us into the content in a safe, logical way. Which brings us to Section 4, Golden Rules for Headings. There are 3 core rules you absolutely must memorize. Rule number 1, stick to exactly one H1 per page. Just like a book only has one main title, your web page gets one H1. It tells everyone, the user, Google, the screen reader, what the main topic is. Rule number 2, don't skip levels. You always want to cascade downwards logically. If you have an H2, the immediate subpoint beneath it has to be an H3. Do not jump from an H2 straight down to an H5 just because you kind of like how the H5 looks visually. That completely breaks the logical flow for assistive technologies. And rule number 3, our main theme for today, structure over style. Never, ever use a heading tag just because you want a piece of text to look big or bold. Let's actually compare these side by side to really drill this home. HTML is purely for structure. Its only job in the world is to declare what the content is. Is it a heading? Is it a paragraph? Is it an image? CSS, on the other hand, cascading style sheets, is purely for style. Its job is to declare how the content looks. What's the font size? What's the color? By separating these two concepts in your mind, you essentially unlock the ability to write clean, professional-grade code. And that leads perfectly into our final section. Section 5, controlling size with CSS. CSS really is your ultimate superpower in web design. It allows you to keep your HTML structurally perfect for Google and screen readers while giving you complete 100% control over how it looks visually. You no longer have to settle for those default sizes that web browsers assign to H1 or H6 tags. You can literally make any heading exactly as big or as small as you desire. Let's look at the 2 main ways you can pull off this CSS magic. On the left side, we have the quick way, using inline CSS. This is where you use the style attribute directly inside your HTML tag. So for example, typing style equals font size 60 pixels right inside the H1 tag. Now this is a quick fix if you only want to change one specific heading on the fly. But if you look at the right side, the best way is using external CSS. And this is the industry standard. Instead of cluttering up your HTML code, you target all your headings at once from a totally separate CSS file. This makes sure your headings look perfectly consistent across every single page of your entire website, and you don't have to copy and paste inline styles over and over again. And this brings us to a really fun, honestly somewhat mind-bending fact that proves just how powerful separating structure from style can be. Because of CSS, an H3 tag can physically be styled to look much, much larger than an H1 tag on the screen. You might have a specific design where a secondary callout needs this massive, bold text, while your main page title is supposed to be more subtle and refined. With CSS, you can make that H3 visually enormous without breaking the underlying structural logic that tells Google the H1 is still the most important topic on the page. Pretty cool, right? So let me leave you with a bit of a challenge today. Go audit your own web projects. Do you have exactly one H1? Are you truly using HTML for structure and CSS for style? Fixing these simple tags is a massive immediate upgrade to your site. But it really begs the question, if CSS gives you this much power to manipulate headings, what other default rules of the web are just waiting for you to break them with a little bit of code? Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.